sound recording equipment. It's unbelievable. The sound of that iceberg falling off and all the other amazing sounds that were recorded, the cranes and everything. And the cameraman, wow, he's got all kinds of prizes. And, you know, we were shortlisted for an Oscar. And the great thing about that, there were 124 documentary feature films entered this year. And Jane's Journey was one of 15 shortlisted. Up until that point, the films get there on their own merit. Once you get to that shortlist, then the Hollywood lobbying comes in, and it's all about who you know. And, you know, the films that get nominated and then get the Oscar, they have put together whole teams of people. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars putting together a campaign to lobby all the high-up people in Hollywood. That's what happens. And we couldn't afford to create a campaign like that. But nevertheless, we did get shortlisted. And the only reason I really wanted to be nominated, one, the message would go out much further, but really because the team deserved it. The cameraman, the sound man, and the director, Lawrence Canalla. So they were a fantastic, we were the closest of friends now. We're still doing things together. The man who made the music, we're doing things together with his music and my stories in Germany and Austria and Italy, and it's moving people. So that was part of what I got out of the film. And since the film was made, Roots and Shoots has gone on growing. I just got back from Gombe. There are 3 people who were in the film, sort of having parts, who are here tonight. One is Tony Collins, who's, I don't know where they all are, Erasto, whom you already heard, Tony Collins, and Saya Kiunwa is somewhere here. But also, here's somebody else who was in the film. You must have seen him. And I have now been together to 52 countries, and he's actually 17 years old now, and he's rather delicate, but he and I are still traveling around the world together, and he's still doing his job. Tony and I just got back from Gombe, and while I was there, it was really magical because we heard that there were some chimps down fairly near the camp. I hurt my hip, so I couldn't really climb up very high, but this female came down almost as though knowing I was there, which sometimes I think the chimps do. And her name is Sparrow. She wasn't in the film, but she's 53 years old. So she's been there the whole time that I was at Gombe. And she came with her extended family right down, and we spent about an hour with her. And the wonderful part about that is that she was accompanied by her fully adult son, Sheldon. Sheldon at one time was top-ranking male. He was usurped by one of Fifi's offspring. I mean, this F family is so powerful. And he was usurped by Ferdinand, who's the top-ranking male now. But when I saw Sparrow, Sheldon was with her because he'd hurt his leg, hurt it quite badly, he couldn't put his foot to the ground. And what these young males do when they hurt themselves, they go back to mum. They always do, and they spend peaceful time in her relaxing presence. Until they feel better, and then they can go out into the tough world of the adult male chimpanzees with all their politicking and so forth. And they're just like people. They are just like people. The Roots and Shoots, as I say, has continued to grow. In Tanzania, we are in every district. And Rasto Yusuf is here somewhere, and Saya, and our other amazing Roots and Shoots staff and volunteers. I believe Catherine might be here tonight, I'm not sure. I don't know who's here because I've only just arrived. But anyway, it's this wonderful team that's making Roots and Shoots grow in Tanzania. But it's now in 130 countries. It's grown since the film was made. And it's growing all the time. It's growing very fast now in Latin America. And it's growing in the Caribbean islands and those little island nations. So that's exciting. And what I wanted to do tonight is not go on talking. I've talked quite enough in the film. But I thought maybe some of you would like to ask some questions. learn a bit more about something, or anyway. So does anybody have any comments or questions or whatever you like? That's what this is about, yes.
The one thing that I've been a fan since I've been a kid, and you've always said that sharing, just trying to do your best and trying to do what you do is giving off and other people, coming up with their energy. So one of the things I've been writing about, like world peace, trying to look at the big picture a little bit, my whole life, and just sort of what comes out of me. And it seems like we're sort of waiting, we want people like Jane, we want people like you, we want our heroes, but we're sort of waiting for God. And what do we do sort of, we can do what you do, but it seems like we need to take the next step somehow. So,
okay.
Any advice?
I don't know, can you hear at the back?
Yeah.
Well, he's basically saying, what do we do to take the next step? There are people who are going around talking about the kind of messages I do, which is great, but how do we get beyond that so that we can actually, I think what you're saying is, how do we actually change the course of the planet? How do we get away from this greedy, materialistic society? How do we create young people coming out into society who understand that while we need money to live, we shouldn't live for money? That's basically what you're saying. Well, I mean, my vision, visions, you can be told that you're crazy. You can't have, you shouldn't aspire so high, maybe you'll fall. But as far as I'm concerned, if you aim for the stars, you might get to the moon. If you aim for the moon, you might get to the top of Everest. If you aim for the top of Everest, well, you'll get onto some molehills. So I prefer to aim for the stars, and my goal is a critical mass of young people who share this roots and shoots philosophy, who are going to be the next parents and teachers. I probably said it in the film, but I really mean it sincerely, because everywhere where Roots and Shoots is working, we find young people who are exceptional, who are prepared to, it introduced volunteerism into this country. Before Roots and Shoots, Tanzanians, there was help in family, but not really. Our first Roots and Shoots members were laughed at. They were told, you're picking up trash and you're not being paid, you must be crazy. But now it's become part of the Tanzanian way of life. So that's happening all over the world. And so, that's what I feel, that if people will just think a little bit about the consequences of the small choices we make, and it may seem that our small choice can't make any difference. When it's multiplied by 100, 1,000, a million, it really starts to move towards the kind of change we need to have. I cannot think of another way of doing it. We need different kinds of teachers and lawyers and doctors and politicians. And politicians, yes.
So we can start with our friends here.
In 2009, I was in Roots and Shoots, and my sister was too, and I really liked it because we were making stuff out of, from the field. We picked up a lot of stuff and made some stuff out of the recycling stuff, and we really liked it.
Well, I'm glad you really liked it, but you mean you're not doing it now?
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to do it again.
Because we need you, see? The world needs you, so you need to, if you don't have a group in your class or your school, start it. It's easy, just get a few people who think like you, sit down and say, what can we do to make the world a better place? We can clear trash, we can raise money for the homeless, we can help stray dogs, there's all kinds of things we can do.
And she's really nice, but we're making a Twiga foundation. Okay, together, and
making a Twiga foundation. There's 3 people. Be Twiga Roots and Shoots, and you get lots more people, and you can help us, and we'll all do it together. We help Twiga, you help Roots and Shoots. We make partnerships. That's how we grow. Okay? So your Twiga, we need your Twiga. Okay?
A friend of mine named Sarah Solarska, we're deciding to make a group, and what we're going to do is we're going to get recycling baskets, and we're going to put them around IST school, and we're going to help people recycle, and then we're going to make a big sculpture out of it and see what we can make.
Jolly good. Thank you.
Is it time for young people?
Do you get tired of after all your journeys?
I do. I get very, very tired. And I tell you, the worst time of all is when I have the luxury of being, say, 2 weeks in one place, and then the thought of packing up and setting off again. That's very tough. It's very tough. And actually, it's a rather funny story here. You know, my grandfather was a parson, and so my grandmother, you know, she was a parson's wife. When I was 13, I read the entire Bible under my bedclothes at night in secret, and I took texts from all the different parts of the Bible, and I wrote them out very carefully, neatly on little curls of paper, and put them in 6 matchboxes which were glued together, so you make little drawers, and then you would pick out a text. And so there were hundreds of these little rolls. I mean, it was literally from the whole Bible. And this happened twice. Now, not just once, but twice. Twice I was in Bournemouth, and we still have that little Bible box. We call it a Bible box. And, you know, we don't use it all the time, but just sometimes it appears in a drawer. And twice, my sister Judy, she said, "Oh, here's the Bible box. Why don't you take a text for your journey?" Twice I picked a text that said, and I was moaning about having to pack up and go off again, and it said, "He who has once set his hand to the plowshare and turneth back is not fit for the kingdom of heaven." And she said, "There you are, off you go."
My parents and I have started up a Habitat for Humanity at our school, and we're trying to find more ideas for fundraising and reaching out to more people to increase our numbers in our community service activity. And I just want to know, what would you advise us to do if we wanted to reach out to more people?
Well, I would strongly advise what I just said over here. You know, your group, whatever it's called, what's it called?
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat
for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity. Oh, you're working with Habitat for Humanity. Well, you can be, whatever school you are, Habitat for Humanity Roots and Shoots group. I'm serious. Because that immediately puts you in touch with young people your age, with your passion, in 130 countries around the world. And it will help you to reach out. And, you know, people say, well, why Roots and Shoots? Because it is 130 countries, and I'm saying it because I've seen it change lives. It changes the lives of the wealthy. It changes the lives in inner cities. It changes the lives in rural Africa. So it is a great, it's an umbrella. So many different groups. We work with the Girl Guides, the Girl Scouts, we work with Habitat for Humanity, we work with 4-H, we work with so many different environmental groups, but all of them join up around the world through Roots and Shoots. So I'm serious, if you join Roots and Shoots, that will extend your reach. And also it's animals, people, environment, and peace.
I think I would just like to say thank you on behalf, I think, of everybody for the work.